It was a bitter winter night, the kind where the wind bites through every layer, and the world feels just a little more indifferent. At a lonely bus stop, under a flickering street lamp, a young man noticed a woman hugging herself tightly against the cold, no coat, no gloves, just trembling in silence. Without a second thought, he shrugged off his only jacket and draped it around her shoulders, offering nothing but warmth and a kind smile. He had no idea who she was. No idea that this small act of compassion was about to send a ripple through his life he never could have imagined. Because the woman he helped, she wasn't just cold, she was powerful. A CEO who had everything, except faith in humanity. She looked up at him, startled at first. Her eyes, wide with disbelief, searched his face for any sign of a hidden agenda. But all she saw was sincerity, pure, unfiltered kindness in a stranger's gesture. For a moment, she was silent, processing the warmth of both the jacket and the unexpected humanity it came with. The man, tall but unassuming, simply nodded, as if to say, "It's nothing." Then he stepped back, slid his hands into his pockets, and turned his gaze back toward the street, waiting patiently for a ride that always seemed late. The woman pulled the coat tighter, its scent, faint traces of coffee, cedar, and something earthy, comforting in a way she hadn't experienced in a long while. Around them, the city pulsed with its usual rhythm, cars whooshing by, people lost in their own worlds, faces lit by screens and headlights. But at that little corner of the city, time felt like it had paused. Two strangers standing shoulder to shoulder, bound by nothing more than the cold and a fleeting moment of decency. She hadn't intended to be there. Her driver had cancelled last minute, and her phone had died right after. She had a high-profile board meeting earlier that day, one where she had to hold her ground against seasoned executives twice her age. It had drained her. The last thing she expected was to be stranded, invisible, just another face among many on the street. But maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what she needed. Watching him from the corner of her eye, she noticed small details that told quiet stories. Frayed cuffs on his sleeves. A bag that had seen better days. Shoes scuffed at the toes. And yet, he held himself with quiet pride. Not arrogance. Not boastfulness. Just a grounded kind of dignity, like someone who's weathered enough storms to stop fearing the rain. She wanted to thank him, to say something that matched the significance of the gesture. But words failed her. How do you adequately acknowledge a kindness that hits deeper than expected? So she stood there, letting the silence speak. When the bus finally arrived, its doors exhaled with a hiss. The man gestured for her to go first. She hesitated, there was something about him she didn't want to leave behind. But she climbed aboard, turned to look at him one last time. Their eyes met briefly, and in that glance was an unspoken exchange. Appreciation, recognition, connection. He didn't get on. She noticed that just as the doors closed behind her, he stayed back on the sidewalk, hands in his pockets, and slowly disappeared into the swirl of snow and streetlight as the bus pulled away.